This video is about Osiris challenges Seth but he escapes with power. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. Part 1 The Gathering Storm. In the beginning, when the world was still young and the stars sang their celestial hymns, Egypt thrived under the rule of Osiris, the benevolent god of the afterlife. His reign ushered in an era of prosperity, where the Nile flowed with riches and the land brimmed with life. Yet, in the dark corners of his kingdom, shadows danced, whispering of betrayal and ambition. Seth, the god of chaos and desert storms, watched from his parched dominion, seething with envy. He longed for the throne of Egypt, a desire that churned in his heart like a tempest unleashed. The tales of Osiris's wisdom and compassion ignited flames of resentment within him, and with each passing day, the darkness in his soul deepened. One fateful night, under the pale watch of the crescent moon, the gods convened in the Hall of Maat, a sacred court where order reigned, and truth was the foundation. Here, Osiris stood tall, his emerald skin glistening like the Nile, as he spoke of unity, harmony, and the cycle of life and death. The assembled deities, including the fierce warrior goddess Sekhmet and the bright-eyed Hathor, nodded in agreement, their hearts kindled by Osiris' revelations. But Seth's heart thudded with discord. His fingers curled into fists, knuckles white with fury as he plotted beneath the radiant glow of the godly assembly. When Osiris' gaze turned to him, seeking counsel, Seth's eyes gleamed with concealed malice. "Brother," he began, voice smooth as oil, yet laced with venom. "You speak of unity, yet it is your light that blinds us. What is left for the desert but to wither while you bask in glory? I challenge you, Osiris, for the throne of Egypt." Gasps echoed through the hall. The air thickened with tension as gods exchanged uneasy glances. Osiris, ever composed, regarded his brother with calm resolve. "Seth, your chaos is a tempest that disrupts the balance. The challenge born of darkness will only lead to ruin." But Seth's laughter reverberated, a chilling sound that echoed through the sacred hall, mocking the very essence of divine order. "And yet, is it not the chaos in life that gives it meaning? I shall prove my supremacy." With a swift motion, he summoned a whirlwind, a maelstrom of sand and fury that spiraled into existence before him, a manifestation of his chaotic power. The gods recoiled, but Osiris remained steadfast. "Then let it be so, brother. I accept your challenge, but know this, to disturb the balance is to invite the wrath of the cosmos." As dawn broke over the horizon, the challenge was set. A duel of gods to take place in the Valley of the Kings, where the sands of time whispered secrets of ancient battles. The whispers of anticipation spread like wildfire through the realms, igniting the hearts of mortals and gods alike. In the days that followed, Osiris prepared, gathering allies, warriors of valor who recognized the righteousness of his cause. Among them stood Horus, the falcon-headed god, heir apparent to the throne, his keen eyes ever watchful, his spirit ablaze with courage. "Father," he spoke, his voice steady as steel, "I will stand by your side. Together, we shall vanquish Seth's chaos." Osiris nodded, pride swelling within him. "You embody the destiny of Egypt, my son. It is your honor to carry forth the legacy of balance and light." Meanwhile, Seth plotted in the shadows, weaving alliances with creatures of malevolence and dark and twisted beings that thrived in despair. He summoned the Serpent of Desolation, a monstrous beast whose scales shimmered like obsidian, and promised it dominion over the land in exchange for its allegiance. "Together, we shall bring Osiris to his knees," he hissed, delighting in the monster's feral growl. As the day of reckoning approached, the valley brimmed with anticipation. Mortals gathered, druids and shamans chanting for the favor of their gods, their hopes entwined with the fate of their land. On the day of battle, the sun rose angrily, casting a crimson glare upon the horizon as if foretelling the bloodshed to come. The Valley of the Kings lay shrouded in an eerie silence, broken only by the rustling of sand beneath the feet of the two opposing forces. Osiris' warriors stood resolute, adorned in golden armor that glimmered like sunlight kissing the river, while Seth's minions coiled like shadows, their eyes burning with hunger for chaos. The moment of confrontation arrived. Osiris and Seth faced each other, the air humming with divine energy. "Let this battle be a testament to our fate," Osiris declared, his voice booming like thunder, resonating with the strength of the earth itself. Seth merely sneered, his voice laced with derision. "Let it be an end to your charade, brother. Today, chaos will reign." With a clash of wills, the battle erupted. Osiris commanded the elements, summoning the flow of the Nile to surge forth, creating a torrent of water that crashed against Seth's minions. They howled in protest, but the god of life stood unyielding, embodying the very essence of creation. Yet, within the storm of war, Seth was not idle. He summoned his monster serpent, its fangs glistening with venom, charging at Osiris with a speed unmatched. The earth trembled as Osiris evaded, countering with a spiraling blast of light that sent shockwaves through the battlefield. The clash of divine powers illuminated the heavens, casting shadows that danced amidst the chaos. Horus soared above, his wings outstretched, a guardian of his father's legacy. He spotted the serpent barreling toward Osiris, and with a fierce yell, he dove into the fray, talons extended. As the gods battled, the cries of mortals echoed, prayers rising like incense to the heavens. "Protect us, great Osiris," they cry, their faith fueling the power of the gods. But within the turmoil, betrayal loomed, and the tides turned as Seth unleashed his cunning. With a flick of his wrist, he conjured a sandstorm, blinding Osiris and Horus, enveloping them in a tempest of chaos. "Look upon your defeat," Seth bellowed, reveling in their blindness, while the serpent struck, its fangs poised to pierce Osiris' heart. But in that moment of despair, a spark of destiny ignited within Horus. He rallied his courage, his vision clearing as he soared high above the storm. "Father, I will not let chaos consume us," he shouted, channeling the strength of his ancestors, a fierce determination burning in his core. With a fierce cry, he dove down, wings slicing through the tempest, and raked his talons across the serpent, forcing it to recoil. Osiris, regaining his breath, glowed with renewed strength, drawing upon the unwavering love of his son. Together, Osiris roared, and Horus nodded, their hearts beating in unison as they unleashed a torrent of divine fury against Seth and his malevolence. The very ground shook, and the sky split asunder as light clashed with darkness, illuminating the battlefield in a kaleidoscope of emotions of hope, fear, honor, and desperation. But even as the tide of battle surged in their favor, Seth, cunning and resourceful, found a momentary reprieve. In the depths of the sandstorm, he whispered a primal incantation, channeling the chaotic energies that surged around him. With a flash, he disappeared, leaving only an echo of laughter that rippled through the valley. "The throne is mine," his voice taunted, a dark promise lingering like smoke in the air. Osiris' heart sank, a cold dread settling deep within him. "We must find him," he exclaimed, fear and urgency intertwining. But the time for reckoning would soon come, for the battle that had begun was far from over. As the dust settled, and the remnants of chaos lingered, the gods stood resolute, their fates intertwined with the threads of destiny. The war for Egypt had only just begun, and the shadows of betrayal loomed larger than ever. Would Osiris reclaim his throne? Would Horus rise to fulfill his destiny? In this world of gods and monsters, the story was far from finished. The stage was set, and the players poised to unleash their powers as the echoes of past grievances whispered promises of both glory and tragedy. And so, the legend of Osiris and Seth began, a tale of cosmic struggle that would echo through eternity, a saga of honor, sacrifice, and the unyielding quest for balance. ## Part 2: The Shadow of Betrayal. As the echoes of Seth's taunting laughter faded into the horizon, Osiris and Horus stood amidst the wreckage of their battle. The once vibrant Valley of the Kings was now a desolate battlefield, littered with remnants of chaos. The sun hung low, casting long shadows that twisted like serpents across the scorched earth. "We have lost him," Horus said, his voice heavy with dread. The realization that Seth had escaped, still brimming with chaos, pierced through the hope they had ignited moments earlier. Osiris clenched his fists, the weight of his brother's cunning pressing down on him like the sand of the desert. "No, this is not the end," he replied, his voice steady yet filled with anguish. "A god of chaos cannot simply vanish without leaving behind a trail. We will find him." The winds began to shift, a portent of what was to come. From the depths of the valley, the whispers of ancient spirits stirred. "Seek the heart of the desert," one voice murmured, a brittle sound like rustling leaves. "Where the sun scorches the earth, Seth's power grows." Horus's eyes brightened with determination. "Then we shall journey to the desert of lost souls. It is there that he seeks to conceal his growing strength." With a nod, Osiris summoned forth the power of the Nile, crafting a shimmering boat from its waters, glistening like jewels under the dying light. Together, father and son embarked upon their quest, their hearts steeled against the uncertainty that lay ahead. ## The desert of lost souls. As they sailed across the shimmering waters, the landscape transformed. The lush greenery of the Nile receded, giving way to the harsh, unforgiving desert. Golden sands stretched endlessly before them, a stark reminder of Seth's domain. The air grew thick with heat, distorting the horizon into a shimmering mirage. As they reached the shore, the sun dipped beneath the horizon, draping the world in twilight. The air crackled with tension, and the desert seemed to come alive, whispering secrets of ages past. With every step, the sand shifted beneath their feet, a reminder of the lurking danger. "I can feel him," Osiris said, his brow furrowed. "His presence is like a storm brewing on the horizon. The balance is at stake." Horus narrowed his eyes, scanning the vast expanse. "Father, I sense something, not just Seth, but others, creatures that thrive in shadows and chaos." Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled fiercely, and a cacophony of howls erupted from the sand. From the depths of the dunes, a monstrous horde surged forth, a legion of nightmarish beings, half-glimpsed phantoms entwined with the essence of despair, creatures twisted by Seth's chaotic influence. "Hold fast," Osiris commanded, summoning forth radiant light, his hands glowing with the fierce energy of creation. The brilliant aura pushed back against the encroaching darkness, illuminating the faces of the creatures that charged toward them. Horus lifted his wings, feathers gleaming with divine light. "Let us not falter, together!" With a fierce cry, the two gods unleashed their divine wrath upon the horde. Osiris conjured torrents of water from the Nile, crashing down upon the monstrous beings, while Horus struck from above, talons gleaming like daggers, as he swooped low, tearing through their ranks. Yet the horde was relentless. They surged forward, clawing at the very fabric of the gods' strength. "They are fueled by despair," Horus shouted, dodging a wicked strike. "We must cleanse this darkness." Osiris focused, drawing upon the memories of love and life that filled his heart. "Then let us remind them of hope," he replied, channeling his divine essence into a radiant wave that washed over the horde. For a moment, as the light poured forth, the creatures paused, their twisted forms revealing flickers of their former selves, mortals lost to despair, caught in the grip of chaos. With a piercing sound, their cries transformed from anguish to clarity as Osiris' light seeped into their very souls, illuminating the remnants of their humanity. But it was not enough. The horde, fueled by Seth's darker magic, rallied again, charging forward with renewed ferocity. In their midst, a colossal figure emerged, a monstrous beast forged of sun and pain, the very embodiment of Seth's wrath, an avatar of chaos. "Bow before your rightful ruler," the beast roared, its voice a thunderous echo that reverberated through the desert. "Join me, or perish beneath the storm of my might." Osiris and Horus steadied themselves, exchanging a resolute gaze. "We shall never bow to chaos," Horus proclaimed, his wings unfurling in a display of defiance. With a single, powerful flap, Horus soared into the air, gathering energy, the very essence of the sun swirling around him. At the same time, Osiris called upon the waters of the Nile, weaving them into a protective barrier around himself and his son. With a thunderous clash, Horus plunged towards the beast, a streak of light against the darkening sky. The avatar roared, striking out with a mass of swirling sand and chaos. But Horus was faster, diving with precision, his talons aimed for its heart. As they collided, a blinding light erupted, casting away shadows and illuminating the vast desert, revealing the truth hidden within. But the moment was fleeting, for the avatar regained its balance, charging once more, the tempest of chaos swirling around it. "Father!" Horus cried, struggling to keep the beast at bay. "We need to combine our powers now." Osiris felt the surge of destiny coursing through him, a connection with his son stronger than he had ever felt. Together, he shouted, channeling the essence of the Nile into Horus's wings. "Let our light pierce the darkness." The two gods began to weave their powers, light and water intertwining. As they unleashed their combined force, a radiant wave surged forward, crashing against the avatar and tearing through the heart of chaos. The ground shook, and the creature let out a howl, its form dissolving into sand, scattering across the desert like forgotten memories. The horde faltered, their connection to the avatar severed, and they began to retreat, lost once more in the depths of despair. Hashish, the heart of darkness. As the dust settled, the desert grew eerily silent, the remnants of chaos lingering like a bad dream. But Osiris and Horus knew their battle was far from over. They approached the heart of the desert, where the very air hummed with Seth's dark energy. "Father," Horus said, determination etched in his features, "we must confront Seth before he gains even more power. He seeks to claim the throne, and with it the very essence of life itself." They pressed forward, the heat intensifying, and soon they found themselves before a massive obsidian structure rising from the sands like a dark omen, a temple forged from the chaos that had been unleashed. Shadows swirled around it, whispering promises of power and dominion. "Welcome, brother," a voice echoed, smooth as honey yet dripping with malice. Seth emerged from the depths, his form cloaked in darkness, yet his eyes sparkled with the thrill of chaos. "You've come to join me, I see." Osiris clenched his fists, the bitterness of betrayal flooding his heart. You will never possess this throne, Seth. You've lost yourself to darkness, and I will not let you take the land down with you. Ah, Osiris, Seth chuckled darkly. You think your light can extinguish my storm? You are but a flicker against the wild winds of chaos. With a wave of his hand, he unleashed a torrent of dark energy, swirling tendrils of chaos that lashed out towards Osiris and Horus. The air crackled with tension as the two gods braced for impact, their hearts pounding, the weight of destiny pressing upon them. "Ah!" Horus shouted, flapping his wings fiercely, channeling his father-esque power through his form. Together, they surged forward, their combined essence igniting like a beacon against the dark. As the two forces collided, the valley erupted into a spectacle of light and shatter, a celestial dance of creation against destruction. The ground trembled beneath them as the very fabric of reality threatened to unravel. "Feel the chaos, brothers!" Seth roared, drawing more power from the temple, the very essence of despair flowing into him. "You cannot escape your fate." But Osiris, fueled by the love of his son and the hope of the mortals, rallied against the darkness. "We are more than fate, Seth, we are the light that breaks the storm." With each clash, the battle intensified, echoing across the sands, a symphony of divine fury. Osiris, his heart ablaze with determination, forged paths of light, illuminating the shadows that threatened to consume them. Horus soared high above, striking down from the skies, a fierce guardian of their legacy. Yet Seth was relentless, a tempest of chaos, conjuring storms that threatened to engulf them. The air crackled with energy as Seth summoned forth the Serpent of Desolation once more, its monstrous form looming behind him, ready to strike. Together, we... Ashish Part 3, The Storm Unleashed. The air thickened with tension as Osiris and Horus faced Seth, the embodiment of chaos, standing tall amidst the swirling shadows of his temple. The Serpent of Desolation writhed behind him, a monstrous silhouette against the obsidian structure, his scales glistening like shards of night. "Prepare yourself, brother," Seth sneered, his voice laced with malice. "You have wandered into the eye of a storm. Here, chaos reigns supreme. You trusted chaos will only bring ruin to our world." Osiris declared, his voice echoing with the power of the Nile. "With every breath, I will fight for the light, for our people, for balance. Let us see how far your light can stretch against the darkness." Seth retorted. With a violent gesture, he unleashed a whirlwind of shadows, tendrils of chaos spiraling toward Osiris and Horus like vapors seeking their prey. Horus took to the skies, his wings unfurling wide, catching the last phrase of twilight. "Father, I'll draw its attention, strike when the moment is right." He soared upward, a streak of brilliance against the encroaching darkness. Osiris felt the weight of destiny upon him as he steadied his breath. "Be careful, my son," he called out, channeling the raw power of the Nile into his fingertips, crafting luminous barriers of water swirling around him. "We shall not falter." With a fierce cry, Horus dove like a falcon, his talons outstretched to pierce the heart of chaos. The serpent coiled, hissing menacingly, its fangs glinting in the dim light. "Foolish godling!" Seth's laughter echoed, reverberating through the temple as the serpent lunged at Horus. In a moment of desperation, Horus twisted mid-air, avoiding the snapping jaws, but the serpent's tail lashed out, striking him with bone-shaking force. He tumbled through the air, regaining his balance just above the chaos, his wings flapping furiously to stay aloft. "Your defiance is fuel!" Seth roared, hands raised high, summoning a tempestuous storm that swirled dark clouds across the sky. "Feel the weight of despair!" Osiris, harnessing the tumultuous essence of the Nile, countered Seth's storm, sending forth waves of light crashing against the dark clouds. "I will not let you drown the world in your madness, brother," he proclaimed, as torrents of water surged into the sky, clashing with the darkness in a spectacular display. The battlefield lit up like a divine theater, water and shadows intertwining in a fierce embrace. But the storm raged on, and the storm's fury was relentless. Seth focused his energies, growing bolder with each passing moment, amplifying his dark magic with the chaos that surrounded him. "Look at the devastation you create," Osiris shouted amidst the clamor. "You've lost your way, Seth. This isn't power, it is destruction." For a brief moment, uncertainty flickered in Seth's eyes, but his pride quickly masked it. "Destruction breeds creation," he spat defiantly. "You will learn that chaos is the true essence of life." Seizing the moment of hesitation, Horus charged forth from above, wings spread wide, radiant with the light of the sun. "Your allies will not bind us, Seth," he cried, plunging toward the serpent and striking it with a flurry of blows that sent shockwaves through the air. The serpent writhed and recoiled, hissing angrily as it tried to regain its balance. "How dare you?" it hissed, its voice a low growl. It lunged again, fangs bared, but Horus evaded, spinning in midair, determination coursing through his veins. "Father, I need your light," he shouted, desperation coloring his voice. Osiris nodded, heart swelling with pride and relentless resolve. Together, he poured his essence into the very air, infusing Horus with light and strength. "You are the embodiment of hope. My son, unleash it." Horus felt the surge of power envelop him, golden radiance spilling from his wings. With a mighty flap, he transformed into a blazing comet, shooting toward the serpent once more. "Feel the wrath of the sun," he bellowed, talons gleaming like daggers as he struck true, piercing the serpent's obsidian heart. The serpent let out a deafening roar, collapsing into a cloud of shimmering sand, its form dissolving as light swallowed the darkness. Seth's eyes widened in horror, realization dawning upon him. "No, not my serpent." But there was no time for mourning. With the serpent vanquished, Horus turned his attention back to Seth, who was now visibly shaken. "Your chaos is unraveling, brother." Osiris prodded, stepping forward, light radiating from him like the sun breaking through the night. "You cannot rule through fear." With a furious shout, Seth sent forth a cascade of dark energy, a tempest of chaos that howled through the air, seeking to engulf Osiris and Horus. "You know nothing of power," he screamed, his voice filled with rage. "I will take everything you hold dear." Osiris stood firm, brandishing his staff, the symbol of his reign. "Then come, brother, come and face the light of hope." With a decisive wave, he unleashed a torrent of light, colliding with Seth's storm. The two forces collided, creating a celestial explosion that sent tremors through the desert. The heavens rumbled, and the very earth beneath them quaked as light and darkness battled for supremacy. Horus, emboldened by their unity, soared high, channeling the energy of the sun into his wings, the rays illuminating the battlefield even in the depths of chaos. "Together!" Horus shouted once more, rallying his father's power. Forces of light surged forward, pushing against the chaos, illuminating the darkness and unraveling the threads of despair that Seth had woven. "That myth!" Seth screamed, his voice tinged with panic as he struggled against the onslaught of light. Shadows flickered and danced around him, contorting as his power began to wane. In a final act of desperation, Seth summoned the very essence of chaos itself, a swirling vortex of shadow and despair that threatened to engulf them all. "I will not yield," he bellowed, drawing upon the depth of his dark magic. But Osiris and Horus were unyielding, their bond forged in love and the legacy of light. "We will not bow to chaos," Osiris proclaimed, his voice fierce, the courage of 1,000 souls echoing within him. "We are more than destiny, we are the hope of Egypt." With one final surge of divine energy, they unleashed their combined power, a blinding wave of light that engulfed the vortex and shattered the very foundation of Seth's chaos. The dark energy dissipated, unraveling like a tapestry, and for the first time, the winds of the desert shifted, carrying a breath of fresh hope. Seth screamed in fury as the light enveloped him, his form wavering in the radiance. "You will regret this," he cried, frustration seeping through his words. "I will rise again." With a final flash, the darkness dissolved. Seth's silhouette faded, swallowed by the light, leaving only echoes of his chaos behind. Osiris and Horus stood amidst the remnants of battle, hearts heavy but resolute. "We have stopped him for now," Horus breathed, chest heaving, the weight of the battle settling upon him. "But his darkness will return. We must prepare." Osiris nodded solemnly, the realization of their ongoing struggle dawning upon him. "Indeed, my son, chaos is a persistent foe, but we shall remain vigilant. Together, we will safeguard Egypt against the storms that threaten our home." As the sun began to rise, casting golden rays across the desert, hope stirred anew within their hearts. The battle was far from over, but the light had triumphed over darkness, if only for a fleeting moment. The journey ahead was fraught with challenges, yet their bond was a beacon that would guide them through the tumult. And so, as the winds whispered secrets of the past and the promise of the future, Osiris and Horus prepared themselves for the trials to come. They would face not only the specter of Seth, but the challenges that destiny had woven into their path. With honor and love as their shields, they vowed to protect their land, their legacy, and the fragile balance that governed their world. In this timeless tale of gods and heroes, the echoes of this struggle would resonate through the ages, a testament to the power of light over the darkness, and the unyielding spirit of those who dare to challenge fate itself. Hashishash Part 4: The Shattered Throne. As the first rays of dawn spilled golden light over the desert, Osiris and Horus stood shoulder to shoulder at the edge of the Valley of the Kings. The remnants of their battle, with Seth lay strewn across the sands, a canvas painted with the stains of chaos and light. Their hearts remained heavy from the storm, yet a flicker of hope ignited within them. The world was momentarily safe, but the shadows of Seth's ambitions loomed ever larger. Father, Horus said, his voice steady but laced with an undercurrent of urgency, we cannot ignore the whispers that echo through the desert. Seth is not vanquished, he merely waits, plotting in the shadows. Osiris nodded, the weight of his brother's cunning pressing heavily upon him. Chaos thrives in dark corners, Horus, yet we are not without our own strength, our bond, our unity. It is our greatest weapon. We must gather allies, strengthen our forces, and prepare for the tempest he surely will unleash. As they marched back toward the Nile, the sun began its ascent, casting away the darkness. They journeyed through the whispering reeds, where the waters of the Nile glistened invitingly beneath the light. Osiris called forth the currents of the river, summoning the spirits of the ancient gods who once walked among mortals, their whispers intertwining with the bubbling waters. Great Anubis, Osiris invoked, his voice echoing with reverence, guardian of the afterlife, we seek your counsel. Seth's chaos is a serpent wrapped around our destiny. We need your wisdom. Anubis emerged from the depths of the water, his jackal-headed visage solemn yet filled with ancient knowledge. The storm you faced was but a shadow of what awaits, Osiris. Seth has forged alliances with dark forces in the underbelly of the earth. He seeks the heart of Ra, a relic that grants untold power to its possessor. Horus' eyes widened with understanding. The heart of Ra, if he obtains such power, he can plunge Egypt into eternal chaos. We cannot let him come close to it. Indeed, Anubis replied, his voice firm. The heart lies within the temple of shadows, guarded by the remnants of forgotten deities and monsters that hunger for flesh and soul. To reclaim it, you must first navigate through the labyrinth of despair. Osiris clenched his fists, determination flooding his veins. We will navigate that labyrinth, Anubis. We will reclaim the heart of Ra and restore balance to our land. Together, we shall stand against the tide of chaos. As they prepared to depart, the air thrummed with anticipation. Osiris summoned forth the spirits of the ancient gods, invoking their strength and wisdom. Come forth, guardians of our legacy. Let us unite against the storm. The riverbank shimmered as ethereal figures emerged from the waters, warriors clad in shimmering armor, their eyes glimmering like stars. They raised their weapons in solemn acknowledgement, ready to stand with Osiris and Horus against the gathering darkness. Hashish the labyrinth of despair. With their allies at their side, Osiris and Horus set forth toward the heart of the desert, where the Temple of Shadows awaited. The sun blazed high in the sky, its heat oppressive, yet the spirits remained unyielding. As they approached the temple, the air grew thick with tension. The entrance loomed before them, a gaping maw framed by twisted stone and shadow. Once we enter, there may be no turning back, Osiris cautioned, his voice a low whisper. We must tread carefully, for the labyrinth of despair is a reflection of our deepest fears. Horus nodded, his resolve unshaken. We are not alone. With every step, we carry the hopes of our people, the light of our legacy. Let us face whatever lies within. Together, they crossed the threshold, stepping into a realm where darkness reigned supreme. The walls of the labyrinth twisted and turned, shifting like the sands of time, each corridor leading deeper into the abyss. Shadows flickered at the edges of their vision, whispering promises of despair and doubt, yet they pressed forward. Suddenly, a thunderous roar echoed through the labyrinth, reverberating off the stone walls. Creatures shaped from the very essence of nightmares emerged from the shadows of monstrous beings with eyes like burning coals, their claws reaching for the gods. Form rank Seth, Osiris commanded, raising his staff as a barrier of light surged forth, illuminating the darkened corridor. The radiant energy pushed back against the chaos, forcing the creatures to retreat momentarily. Horus took to the skies, his wings a flurry of light as he swooped down upon the nearest beast, talons outstretched, striking with divine precision. We cannot falter, the path to the heart lies ahead. The battle erupted, a cacophony of divine fury against the monstrous horde. The warriors of ancient gods joined the fray, their weapons clashing with the shrieks of despair, each blow resonating with the power of creation. Osiris unleashed torrents of water, washing over the creatures, cleansing the darkness that threatened to swallow them whole. Yet the labyrinth shifted, and the shadows thickened. From the depths of the darkness emerged an even greater foe, a creature of pure chaos, a twisted amalgamation of despair and madness. It towered above them, its form a swirling vortex of shadows, eyes filled with malice. Foolish gods, it screeched, its voice a symphony of sorrow and rage. You dare trespass in my domain? You will know nothing but despair. Osiris stood firm, heart pounding, determination coursing through him. We will not yield to chaos. We are the embodiment of hope and light. With a swift motion, he summoned the waters of the Nile, concentrating his power into a single point. Let the heart of Ra guide our hands, he roared, unleashing a powerful torrent of water that crashed against the creature, momentarily staggering it. Horus seized the opportunity, diving toward the creature with fierce intent. Together, Father, let our powers unite. With a surge of light, he enveloped his father's magic, creating a blazing orb of luminescence that pierced through the creature's core. The explosion of light was blinding, illuminating the labyrinth as the creature howled in agony. "No, this cannot be," they cried, darkness unraveling around it, scattering like ashes in the wind. As the echoes of its cries faded, the labyrinth began to shift once more, revealing a path forward. The gods pressed on, hearts beating as one, driven by the urgency to reclaim the heart of Ra. Hashashash, the Temple of Shadows. They emerged from the labyrinth into a vast hall, the Temple of Shadows sprawling before them, an architectural marvel forged from darkness and despair. The walls shimmered with ancient runes that glowed faintly, whispering forgotten secrets. At the center of the hall, upon an altar of obsidian, rested the heart of Ra, pulsating with radiant energy. Its light flickered like a dying star, flickering dangerously close to extinction. "We must reach it," Horus shouted, but as they moved forward, shadows coalesced around them, forming a barrier, the very essence of despair rising to protect the heart. Seth's laughter echoed through the chamber, chilling their hearts. "You thought you could simply walk in and reclaim what is mine. The heart is the source of my power. With it, I will become unstoppable." From the shadows, Seth emerged, his form more terrifying than before, infused with the essence of chaos and the creatures he had summoned. "You are too late, Osiris. The throne of Egypt will be mine." Osiris felt the weight of destiny pressing upon him. "You cannot rule for fear, Seth. The heart belongs to the balance of our world, not to chaos." Seth raised a hand, conjuring a tempest of shadows that surged toward them. "Let us see if your light can withstand the storm." The two gods stood resolute, channeling their energies. "We will overcome you, brother," Horus cried, wings flaring wide, the sun's light radiating from him in defiance of the darkness. They surged forward, Osiris conjuring torrents of light while Horus stepped from above, a duo of harmony against the storm. The clash of their wills sent shockwaves through the temple, shaking the very foundation of existence. "Together," Osiris shouted, pouring every ounce of his strength into the torrent of water, a cascade of brilliance that surged toward Seth. Seth unleashed a wave of chaos, their powers colliding in a cataclysmic explosion that illuminated the temple with a blinding radiance. The very walls trembled, shadows writhing in agony as the forces of light and darkness battled for dominance. In that moment of fury, as the chaos raged, Horus caught a glimpse of the heart of Ra pulsating on the altar, its light flickering dangerously. "Father, the heart, we must protect it." With a fierce cry, they redirected their powers, pushing back against Seth's dark magic, their combined strength illuminating their temple as they formed a barrier around the heart. "No more!" Horus bellowed, determination igniting his spirit. "We will reclaim what is ours." Their resolve surged like the Nile, an unstoppable force of unity. As the storm of chaos grew,